As a mentor and teacher to entrepreneurs, one of the things that I teach is that the success formula for a kingdom-driven entrepreneur is faith plus obedience equals success. It's a willingness to have radical trust in God and a willingness to say, yes, Lord, to His instructions, even when they don't make sense to our logical mind. It was September 2012, and I was at a women's conference in Orlando, Florida. It was the last evening of the conference, and the pastor was sharing how God gives us eyes to see things the way He sees them and gives us ears to hear His voice. And then she got quiet. She asked everybody to just close their eyes, and she was going to pray over us. There's 1,000 people in the room. So she's praying over all of us, and she's praying that God gives us eyes to see, that we hear something from Him or that we see something from Him. Now, after she prayed, she said, if anybody in here heard something from God, I want you to stand up. Then she asked, if you saw something, if God showed you something, I want you to stand up. Now I'm sitting here with my eyes closed thinking, what am I, chopped liver? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not hearing anything. And at this time in my life, I was so hungry for experiencing more of God. And so with a little bit of agitation, I'm like, what's up with that, Lord? So she finishes praying, and she was sharing her final words. And as she was sharing her closing words, I honestly don't remember what she was saying at the time, but what I do remember is that I fell to the floor, and my nose was right on the high-heeled shoe of the friend that I came to the conference with. It was a total faceplant, nose to shoe. And I'm trying to get up off the floor, and I cannot move a muscle. It was almost like there was an angel sitting on my back to keep me from being able to move. I knew this was God, and I was like, God, get me up, get me off this floor. Why am I on this floor? I'm starting to feel paranoid, because I'm thinking these people are gonna think there's a medical emergency. These folks are gonna think something's wrong with me, but I just couldn't move. So finally I said, okay, God, clearly you want me on this floor and I'm not going to be able to move, so what is it? So as soon as I say that, I experience an open vision for the first time in my life. And I was on the playground, and we were playing this game called the trust fall game. You know what that game is. That's when you have someone standing behind you and you close your eyes, you fall back, and you just know you're supposed to trust that that person behind you is going to catch you. But in this vision, I fell back, but at the last second, I put my arm back to brace myself for a fall. And I heard a voice say to me, "That's what you do to me." So I'm stunned, feeling rather convicted, not condemned, but lovingly convicted. And I just sat there in silence, and I heard a voice say to me, "Do you know why you do that?" And I said, "No, Lord, why?" And He said, "Because you have absolutely no idea how much I love you." And in that moment, I was able to get up off the floor. My girlfriend there at the conference with me is looking at me like, what happened? And I really even couldn't share with her at that moment what happened. I was just a little bit stunned. So we go back into the hotel room that evening, we go to bed, and then the next morning we wake up in the wee hours of the morning. So we're sitting up in the bed, and she asked me, "Shae, tell me a little bit about what happened last night." And so I shared with her the story, and as I'm in the middle of sharing this story with her, a heavy presence, which I now know to be the glory of God, just showed up in the hotel room. It was so heavy that all you could do was get as low as you could possibly get down on the floor to worship. And as we're on the floor and we're worshiping, I have a second vision, and it's hands. And the hands are going like this, open and shut, open and shut. And I hear the Lord say to me, "This is man. Sometimes his hands are open to you, sometimes they're shut. And you think that this is who I am." And then I saw a second picture, it's two hands like this. He said, "But this is me. I am your Father. Everything that you need, everything that you want, I have it for you. I love you." So I leave this conference going home from Orlando, back to home, and for the next 2 weeks, I experienced one encounter with God after the other for 2 weeks, and every single time He would show me something else and speak to me about something else. He'd always say, "You see how much I love you?" And that experience completely transformed my life. This journey for me, how there has been countless opportunities to have radical faith, and certainly to have radical obedience, to do things that made absolutely no sense to me. But what I could always go back to is what the Bible says, where it says there is no fear in love, and that His perfect love casts out all fear. And so when you have that foundation, that solid foundation of the Father's love for you, then you're not scared. You don't have to have the fear of stepping out and doing those things that you believe that He's leading you to do, because you know that ultimately, even if you make a misstep, He's right there. He's right there with His arms wide open. He's right there saying, I'm so proud of you, son. I'm so proud of you, daughter. And He just kind of picks you up off the floor and wipes you off and sends you on your way, because He's the best course corrector ever. So there's no fear in love. And so we can stand in that revelation. We can do absolutely amazing things. It hasn't just been a trust fall for me. Quite honestly, it's been a trust fall for my entire family. I mean, when you make a decision that you are going to have radical trust in God and that you are going to be radically obedient in your life, the whole family is signing up for that. It can't be a solo pursuit. And so I so thank God for my husband, but also for my girls. My daughters have been a part of this every step of the way, and we've been able to be really transparent with them about the things that God's showing us. And even when there was challenging times, because sometimes you go through wilderness seasons as you're following God, but even through the challenging times, all of us were on one accord, because we all knew that we were walking out this adventure with Him. And so it truly has been a family pursuit. When it comes to doing the work that God's called me to and fulfilling God-given dreams, the foundation and the fuel for me has always been intimacy with God. I've always had my husband's support, but that wasn't enough. I've always been passionate about the work that I do and the ability to have an impact in the lives of others, but that wasn't enough either. You want to know what was enough for me? It was a revelation in my heart of the Father's love for me as His daughter. I don't have to perform. I don't have to conquer a mountain for Jesus to validate my worth. It's as simple as just let me be His daughter. I'm free to love and to be loved. And it's as simple as that.
Is 3, 2, live on 2.
But the truth is, sorry. Okay.
We're going. Pause.
Radical faith plus radical obedience equals success. And I forgot what I wanted to say after that. Right, that's right. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna switch that up a little bit.
Just run right into it.
Radical trust in God and a willingness to, I'm wanting to say it a certain way.
Willingness to remember.
A willingness to remember in Jesus' name. Support, but that wasn't enough. I can't remember what else I wanted to share. Hold on.
You always trick me, because I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's how I roll. That's how I roll. You're like, oh, no.
Man, I should have recorded that.
Listen, I just flow, so you gotta keep the camera rolling. Just keep the camera rolling.